Is this better? It sounds like it should be better. Oh, sorry guys. I'm gonna have to go through all this again, aren't I? I always do this. It sounds like it should be better. So just let me turn this volume down so I'm not echoing in my own ears. Sorry guys. So I'm gonna have to go through all this again, aren't I? I always do this. It sounds like it should be better. So yeah, just let me turn this volume down. So let me go over that quickly again. Sorry guys. So this is, I'm going to have to go through all this. Video starting it sounds like it should be better. For Bigtreetech. Yeah, just I am not paid by Bigtreetech. Let me go over that quickly again. Beta tester. So this is, I'm going to have to go through all this. Video starting it sounds like it should be better. I already said all this a second ago. Yeah, it looks like I'm not paid by Bigtreetech. Let me go over that quickly again. So this is, I'm going to have to go through all this. Video starting it sounds like it should be better. I already said all this a second ago. Yeah, it looks like I'm not paid by Bigtreetech. Let me go over that again. So this is reliably. That might fix it for now. Let me know, Collie, if that sorted it out for you. I'm waiting for chat to tell me what's going on. All fixed now? All fixed. Okay, thanks, Collie. So, what's going to happen this evening? I pre-recorded the unbox about a month ago. And as a result of recording that about a month ago, there's going to be things that I've learned since that may not be exactly what I say during the video may not be exactly what happened or what is correct. So I recorded this video and then I didn't feel comfortable releasing it. And I had a chat with a few people in the community about my misgivings when I was given the okay to start talking about ViViD earlier today. And they said, well, why don't you control the narrative and play back the video, but be here to do it? Don't just release it to the public, actually have this session here where we'll watch the video together. I can then pause the video and then correct anything I say that's wrong or amplify any points that aren't quite correct and fix them up. And hopefully that will mean that everybody gets reliable information. Now, this is a beta unit. I want to be very, very clear that this is a beta unit. All the units that you're going to be seeing over the next few days from various influencers and content creators are beta units. This is not a full production unit as of yet. The full production units, I saw some dates today suggesting probably mid-February before they actually ship out. And we are starting to see release candidate software being sent out to us by Bigtreetech. We will not be printing with the ViViD tonight. It's not what we're going to be able to do. For the simple reason, a new set of software has just been released and I have to go through and make a whole bunch of changes to it to make it actually work, because I have to set things like purge points and docking points and the point where it's going to crash into the plunger to make it cut the filament. It's a lot of changes I've got to make. I don't have time. I've literally got back from holiday 3 hours ago. I'm a little bit sunburned, as I'm sure you can tell. So yeah, that's what we're going to be doing. We have a Brad in the chat. Hopefully we have a few more people. I think I saw I had about 10 people watching live. Welcome to everybody who is here today. Please like, please subscribe. Brad will, I'm sure, be able to post the Discord link in chat for me once in a while because the bot isn't working at the moment, I don't think. But we'll give it a go and see what happens. So what I'm going to do is I'm about to bring online the video. There might be an echo. Not an awful lot I can do about it. I'll do my best not to have an echo, but we'll see. What I'll probably do is if I say something in the video that I pre-recorded that isn't right, I'll pause the video and then we'll have a little chat and then we'll go back to the video again. We'll see how that works and we'll see how it all plays out. So let's swap over to this one. Actually, let me just check one thing. I've just realized that the chat needs to be updated. So now you guys should be able to see the chat on the screen in a few moments. There we go. That's much better. Now, everything should be good and we can begin. Good morning, good morning, good morning. I am Phil, I am the Down Under Maker. Welcome to this special short video unboxing the Bigtreetech ViViD. I'm going to possibly refer to it as the ViViD or ViViD because that's what the community. Good morning, good morning, good morning. I am Phil, I am the Down Under Maker. Welcome to this special short video unboxing the Bigtreetech ViViD. I'm going to possibly refer to it as the ViViD or ViViD because that's what the community. Good morning, good morning, good morning. I am Phil, I am the Down Under Maker. Welcome to this special short video unboxing the Bigtreetech ViViD. I'm going to possibly refer to it as the ViViD or ViViD because that's what the community. Good morning, good morning, good morning. I am Phil, I am the Down Under Maker. Welcome to this special short video unboxing the Bigtreetech ViViD. I'm going to possibly refer to it as the ViViD or ViViD because that's what the community. Good morning, good morning, good morning. I am Phil, I am the Down Under Maker. Welcome to this special short video unboxing the That wasn't quite what we were expecting, was it? Okay, so let's try something a little different. I apologize. This is something I'm trying to do for the first time. And yeah. Okay, so add a source. I think I've got it sorted out now. And it looks like Collie's just joined my Discord. Thank you very much, Collie. What I've done is I've just isolated the video stream, the playback stream, audio-wise, and hopefully that should mean we get no more echoes. Public use, and to also thrash the unit a little bit to make sure that it's going to live up to your expectations. Please let me know if this is working without echoes. Bigtreetech don't pay me in any way for this. I do this on a semi-voluntary basis. I get to play with cool gear. They send me cool gear, but there's no money changing hands in any way, shape or form, and my opinion always remains my own. This is going to be pretty light on this morning. I'm going to be opening it, showing you what's going on inside the box. I have opened the box just enough to make sure that I'm not going to dox myself and to make sure that there's no secret information been provided inside the box. But it's now currently the 15th of December, so we're probably 6 to 8 weeks before most of you will receive your units. But let's have a look, shall we? Now, I've tried to optimize these views as best as I can to be able to not have to mess with the cameras while I'm doing all of this, but it's entirely possible things may go off shot for a few moments while I'm doing this, just to make sure everything goes as smoothly as possible. So, opening it up, this little piece of the carton was damaged in transit. It's not the end of the world though. This is how it was shipped to me. It was shipped in the retail box. So the retail box is plenty sturdy. It's just that there was a little bit of cosmetic damage. This is a nice chunky piece of foam which protects the top of the unit. Let's throw that off screen for now because we don't need it. And let's pull this unit out of the box. Now, in order for me to do this, it's going to go off screen for a moment while I quickly grab the power cord, which is sitting here at the bottom. And then I'm going to put the box out of shot so we can get on with what we're doing. Now, please excuse the fact I'm running around in socks. It's currently 36 degrees C here, so it's almost build plate temperature today outside. Now, you're going to be looking at this going, wow, that looks pretty cool, hopefully. And this is a hand-produced unit. This is not the final factory polished unit that most of you will get. This is put together specifically to be sent out to me as a beta tester. Some of what you might see might be a little different to what you receive because there are some minor things that you just can't do in a test environment. Now, inside we've got a big chunky piece of foam. I happen to know that this foam comes off, blow it off camera, and let's have a look at what's going on in here. Here we have the hub. Now, this is not quite like the Box Turtle hub and some of the other equivalent hubs. This has an STM chip built into it, which will allow it to connect directly to your Linux host when you're running Clipper. And the two little white marks that you can see are the DFU and reset buttons that we use while we're doing our programming. On this end, we have 4 PTFE inputs, and they're marked as black, and blue is the one that heads out to your printer. The beauty of having a remote hub compared to some of the alternatives is that it allows you to basically have the filament run to the tool head as short as is possible for the fastest possible tool changes. I have actually seen one preparation for this where basically, imagine this is the back wall of your printer. This is inserted through the back wall of the printer into the chamber, and the PTFE comes to here, PTFE to the tool head goes that way, and that means that you can have a nice short Bowden run. Let's put this to a side for a moment and let's have a look what else is going on here. Now, here we have a USB to what looks like a Molex Microfit 3. A Microfit 3 to Microfit 3 plug and some PTFE. Now, the PTFE, as I understand it, is going to be as supplied, going to be one single length for you to cut up yourself, but this is a test unit and they've probably just thrown whatever they had lying around in the box for me here. Now, here are some ferrite slugs. For people who don't know what ferrite slugs are, they're used to suppress electrical interference in cables that have long runs. So I'm assuming that just to guarantee good data integrity, these are to go onto the USB cable. I haven't actually had a chance to open the manual yet. Okay, I'm going to pause it there for 1 second and I'll go back to me. Hi. So, the ferrite slugs, I did actually get an answer from Bigtreetech when we were doing the testing, and they've it's basically said they know that users are going to be doing strange things and running cables in strange places. So rather than run the risk of having data integrity issues, they're supplying these chokes to help reduce electrical interference and make sure that the USB is as good as possible. The USB for the hub is going to be running right next to either CAN bus or other kinds of toolhead wiring. So in order to make sure that there's as little interference as possible, that's why they're doing it that way. Okay, let's go back to this video. Fully read all about where these things go, but they are ferrite slugs. Some of you who are used to dealing with datacoms and used to have printers back in the dark ages, the first generation of USB cables always had those built in. So that's there, that's the hub. Hi projects. And let's pull out this piece of foam. Oh, nice and easy, throw that off camera. Now, just to quickly explain how the drive mechanism works on this. There's not 4 individual drives on the ViViD, unlike the Box Turtle. The ViViD uses a cam-driven mechanism. So basically, the cam turns, and there's 4 positions on this long shaft that goes through here that connects everything together. And when the cam is rotated 90 degrees, every 90 degrees, there's a place for it to interface with the rollers at the front of the machine. So at the moment, this, and this all appear to be disconnected, and yet that one is connected to the drive. So it's currently set up for what would be T0 or slot 1, depending on how the nomenclature works. And that's going to drive the filaments in this slot, while the other 3 remain undriven. Now, something to know is these strips here appear to be magnetic, and there is a reasonable amount of resistance to opening the lid, which is good because that means that it's going to remain relatively airtight. And there is a nice gasket running all the way around. Why is this important? In here, my friends, we have a filament dryer. So there's a heater and there's a fan drive in here, which is designed to circulate warm air to keep your filament nice and dry and protected. Just pausing it for a second, guys, just letting you know that it is a mains powered heater, and there's a big cylindrical fan. Basically, imagine a drink bottle size arrangement with fan blades on it, and the whole cylinder rotates, blowing air through the system. There's 2 temperature probes and humidity probes inside the system, and that's what governs all of the temperature control. Back to the video. While we're on that subject, this is a vent. In this position, it's currently set as closed, but if you turn it 90 degrees, it sits up proud of the plastic, and there's enough room for some airflow to come in from behind the dial there. So let's close that up, and I'm going to rock it onto its back a little bit now, just to show you what's going on in the front of the machine. We currently have 4 individual sets of LEDs. Now, as I recall, there's actually a number of emitters in each segment, so they can be multiple. We've had a question from Brad in the chat. It's a big cylindrical blower, so not a fan like everybody's traditionally used to. It's more like the big rotating drum fans that are used in things like cooking range hoods and things like that. Go back to the video. Oh, that's not what I was intending to do. There we go. Sorry. The screen I'm doing this on to make this all work has a huge resolution,
again, I don't know yet.
and it makes it difficult to navigate sometimes.
Manual, but we do have the ability to show either error messages or statuses, as well as the filament color on these LEDs where we want to. Let's turn the box around now, and let's have a look at what's going on the back. Now, matching the hub, we've got 4 individual PTFE outlets, which allows us to have the PTFE run from the ViViD unit out to the hub, and then on via the hub into the printer itself. On this side, we've got the mains power switch and mains power connection. And on this side, we've got the USB connectors for connecting them. Now, something I've been told, but I'm not 100% certain on at this point, because again, I haven't yet had full chance to read the manual, is that you can connect either one of these units directly to your Linux host and then relay onto the other one. So what that would mean is, if your hub is the closest to your Linux host, you'd plug that in via the USB-A cord and then on from the hub onto the ViViD. Or if the ViViD is closest to your Linux hub, or it's more convenient, then you can plug it from the ViViD on into the hub via the dual Molex Microfit 3 cord. So let's have a quick look. I think I've got... no, I don't have any of the major brands filament spools lying around for easy comparison, but I understand that it's been tested with a bunch of the major manufacturers like Polymaker, etc., to make sure that their spools all fit quite nicely. And these nice large rubber rollers, I can't see them having any issues with cardboard spools, not based on my experience, so that should be a relatively smooth experience. Now, these silver holes here are metal inserts for the start of the filament path, which you then feed through and out through to the back of the unit through those PTFE outlets. So I don't have the ability right now to actually go through a full setup process. I'll save that for another video. But this has been the Bigtreetech ViViD as an unbox. I have been Phil. I am the Down Under Maker. I'd like to thank you for joining me, and please join me on stream whenever you can. Like, subscribe, and all that YouTuber stuff. And it's time for me to hop on out of here. Bye, guys.
Okay. That was nowhere near as awful as I remember it being. So yes, we had a few issues with the audio to begin with, but hopefully that means that we got all that nutted out first of all. So I was just having a quick look at chat. Yes, Brad is commenting about the multi-host connection points. I'm going to explain that a bit more deeply in a moment and why it's not quite as straightforward as I explained in some situations. So if you can bear with me for just a second, I'm going to get rid of this headset and then we can do this more like my normal streams where I don't hear anything and I just do what I do. So bear with me a second. Yes, that is an elephant in the room. This is the ViViD unit. I've currently got it set up with 4 spools of filament. Like I said at the beginning of the stream, it's not ready to print at this point for one very good reason. I've just come back from holiday, like I mentioned, and coming back from holiday, there is a whole new suite of software I need to install and test, and I haven't done all of that work yet because I've only been back at home for a couple of hours. So let's have a quick look at this. Now, that's going to be important in a minute. Here's our hub. Here's our USB ports, input and output. Now this is the bit that goes into the printer. That's the bit that comes from the ViViD. At present, this is the solution for Voron printers, the Trident and the 2.4, and that is to, I forget which way up it goes. It only fits one way, that way. It goes like this. So this is the outside of the printer. This is bolted to the top of the back of your printer. There's a little screw hole here so you can actually secure it in place. Well, it's a really good snug fit anyway. I don't think you'd actually need the screws unless you're doing something silly. But if you have a look closely, in the current design revision, the output socket is actually blocked off. It's not the end of the world, but it does mean that it's inaccessible. So what that would mean is you would have to feed your data from the ViViD to this. And there is actually a notch here for feeding in the ViViD cable and feeding it to here. Now, I am a CPAP user, as many of my regulars will know. So I've actually been working on a prototype ViViD CPAP. Now, I'm not a fan of the way some of the CPAP designs have been done, and please excuse the scrappy design. This is a work in progress, but what I've been trying to do is actually have it so we have screw-in fittings here and here. Screw-in fitting that will allow you to screw the fan on, screw the air intake filter on, and a screw-on fitting that will allow you to actually have the CPAP come out of here and do that properly. Just reading what's going on in chat. I like it, but my PTFE and toolhead cable come through the exhaust housing. Would have to do some rework. It is what it is, Brad, and based on all the testing I've been doing, this is actually going to be a really good way to do it. And like I said, I'm working on a modified version because this is the default one, and this is the fillerized version, and this isn't quite right. This allows the USB cable to come in, yes, but it doesn't yet allow your CAN bus or whatever cable to come in. That's not been thought about. So I'm working on some ideas to make that more practical. One of the ideas I've had is, rather than having the cable run in at 90 degrees like this, was maybe to have recesses in here, or at least one recess in here for the CAN bus. The USB, we probably don't have an awful lot of choice because the cable's got to come in and then plug in here. So it's got to come in through here and have a little bit of a loop and then plug in. So we'll have to see how that goes, and all of this is still something that's being worked on. That also means that we're going to have to be careful how that's handled for the filter if in the CPAP version. Good morning from PNW. I don't know where that is, Eric,
but I'm presuming Pacific Northwest, so somewhere near West 3D. So where are we at? We've had a quick look again at the buffer, and we've watched our video. Let's unplug a few more things and bring it across. That one. And I'm not going to bring the power cable with me. And let's just do the USB cables again. So they weren't really visible on my pre-recorded version as well as they could have been. So let's discuss them more clearly. Okay, so standard USB type A to plug into your Raspberry Pi or whatever. This then plugs into, in my case, the ViViD. And this is a Microfit 3 4-pin, 2x2. And from my ViViD, I then relay it on via this double-ended 2x2 pin, which already has a ferrite choke built into it. It relays onto the buffer. That's how I've been running it. Now, I haven't actually yet installed the backpack because my original print came out badly because it turned out I had a fault with the nozzle. It actually had a chip in it. So I've since replaced it. But having just come back from holidays, I just haven't had a chance to reprint. But being also a CPAP user, it's also been a bit difficult because I really don't want to give up my CPAP. We have Chris in the chat. Will there be a mount for the 2020 extrusion to mount outside and never? I don't know exactly what you're talking about there, Mike V. This is all I've been provided by Bigtreetech in terms of this is what they want me to test. So will there be other options? I'm sure there'll be plenty of other options. I mean, it's not going to be difficult to jump into the step file, ninja out this particular surround for its geometry, and then you could do whatever you want within reason. But you need to remember that the PTFE needs to be coming in wherever you normally have your PTFE coming in, which is normally high up at the back for ease. You ideally want as little curve in that PTFE as possible to make loading easy. That goes across the board for all of these kind of systems. Remembering that part of the way that the filament is loaded is this piece here on the front actually extends. So when the filament is pushed hard against something, this part actually extends. It's actually quite heavily sprung loaded. And this is part of the sensing system which says to the clipper, okay, the bulk part of the loading is done. It's now time to engage the drive inside the tool head and actually collect the filament and drag it inside. So you need to keep that in mind. One of the things that is currently being worked on is making sure that the capture from the buffer to the tool head is actually handled reliably. It's still a little bit of a work in progress. We are working to make sure that that is as bulletproof as it possibly can be. Is it working? Yes, it works. It prints. Is it as good as I would want it to be before I handed it off to you guys? Not quite. And that's why we have the beta testing. People like myself, we're picky, and we make Bigtreetech's life very, very difficult to ensure that what you guys get is the best possible product. For those of you who are on my Discord, there's actually a post from Penguin Makers, which very heavily describes the way beta testing often works. You've got a developer who has this perfect solution, which works in theory, and it works in their environment. And then you hand it off to external testers, and we come along with a house brick and beat the crap out of it. And that's why I'm here. I think differently to many other people. Everybody who's a regular on my stream will know that. So yeah, it's one of those things where, excuse me, I've had a long day. We will thrash these things. Chris, who's just joined the chat, he's been on the testing program for Bigtreetech as well. He knows what it's like. Sometimes things arrive and we go, yeah, guys, this just isn't up to it.
and Bigtreetech have been very responsive in terms of going back to the drawing board in some cases and actually starting from scratch. The Gen 2 EBB boards was a great example of that. What we got sent originally, it was good, but it wasn't up to it. And they went back and they redesigned it and got a much better product as a result. So yeah, so let's now go across and grab the ViViD unit itself, and we'll have a deeper look inside, because now I understand a bit more about it, I can tell you guys a bit more about it. Let's untangle that. Now, I'm leaving the PTFE attached because there's actually filament loaded inside, and I don't want to mess with it too much. Now, I just need to very carefully note that's all loaded. That's all loaded. That's going to be fun. Having been away for a week, some of this filament is shattered in the system. Now, it's actually really, really easy to get out, so that's not a big deal. But there we go. Yeah, that's definitely free. One of my biggest gripes with Box Turtle, and everybody's as far as I know, is that sometimes the filament breaks inside the mechanism and it's hard to get out without dismantling it. The way this is handled is a little different, and that's how easy it is to remove it if it does break. So far that's all I've ever had to do, but we will see. So just arrange it so that the gray is under the middle of the camera and remove it. The reason for the gray, I just wanted to show you because this isn't something I covered in the unbox. There's a tray for desiccant, so you can have desiccant. One of the other testers has been working on a way of looking after the desiccant inside there, whether it's a mesh box or a bag or something. It's something that Bigtreetech is leaving to the user to decide. That other tester is looking after that. Easy. How to make it easy to get changing out the PTFE tubes? Can you pass the filament from the spool all the way in a manual? Well, you've just seen it, Chris. That was as tough as it was. You unplug it from the back here on the ECAS connector, and then you can just pull it out. It's only got a pinch point in one spot where the drive is, and that drive is where you can. It'll either come out from this end or it'll go out through the back. If there was a problem, simply loading more filament would actually push out whatever's in the system in every situation I've encountered so far. So hopefully that answers that for you. Let's put that there. Now, unlike the buffer, the pinout on here, it doesn't care which way around. Well, certainly in my experience, it doesn't care which way around you do it. So you can plug the input or the output into either, and it doesn't seem to mind which way around you do it. Power switch, like I talked about in the video, and ECAS. These have nice sturdy ECAS, and it appears to be a metal lower part of the fitting. And just to further demonstrate, if you were to have a problem and you needed to get to the drives, which I've only had to open this once, and that was purely for an inspection. It's 2 screws. They look like they're M3x8, and then this cover comes off. Let's just give myself some slack on this filament. There we go. There we go. And you can get to the gubbins easy enough. Now, the filament path isn't as restrained as I was expecting it to be, but it's apparently by design. It is possible for filament to not load quite right if you jump the gun, and I'll explain why. When you first put filament into the system detects that the filament's there via a sensor, and it then has to, remember I was talking about in my video, has to rotate the cam to get the drive into the right location. If you were to keep stuffing filament in while that's going on, there is a chance that the drive will catch it in the wrong way and it will spit the filament out through the wrong locations. You do have to be a little bit careful when you're loading. Just wait for the system to grab the filament. Don't keep stuffing it. Just reading chat again. This is near identical to the Anycubic Ace. I don't know, Brad. I haven't got any direct first-hand experience with that one. Now, somebody was asking me on my Discord when I mentioned that the embargo had been lifted and I could talk about things. Where was I going with this? Somebody was talking about it. It'll come back to me. The Ace does that too. Oh, okay. Guessing it can. Yes, it can push out under the cover. It doesn't happen very often in my experience, as long as you're sensible and careful and just wait for the system. If you're going to be ham-fisted, it's going to miss the guide. So what you're saying is just the tip. Only projects in Dad's Garage would ever take it to that level in my streams. I mean, I never would, and certainly Brad never would. So yeah, we'll just leave projects to do that as he will. So I've covered everything that is really what I can at this point. You're welcome to ask me any questions, and we can go from there. Let's just push this out of the way for a second because it's kind of bulky. Now, things I can talk about as well, the filament drying. I was talking with Brad a little bit during the playback of the other video. I like to force feed though. I hate what. Okay, yeah, I can't help you with that, Chris. You're just going to have to learn some patience. The filament drying aspect of the machine, the way it's handled. Let me plug this all back in, and then I can bring up Clipper. I can give you a little bit of a look. Everything that I'm about to show you is still very, very beta. Whether it will carry forward is anybody's guess. It depends on what passes testing and what doesn't. It's plugged in. That's plugged in. I need the buffer. That goes to the input. Give that a few moments to wake itself up and do a firmware restart. Go back to me for a second while I set this up. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm just bringing up my mainsail. Let's go to that one, and that one, that one. Play will it load? Looks like we've got some sort of response going on. Now it's entirely possible after doing an unplug like this, I'll need to completely reboot. Yeah, let's do a reboot. Try again. So let's go. To OBS, go to Chrome, to browser. There we go. We're just waiting for the Raspberry Pi to boot up. So looks like we've got a couple new people who've been watching but not brave enough to say hi. Hi Zybertech, how are you? You've missed the new product idea filament loop. XY jelly. Okay, you guys are taking it to projects in Dad's Garage levels of low, so I'm going to just keep going. So I've got a Raspberry Pi on that system. I'm just waiting for it to boot back up. Now, the reason it's taking a while is this poor thing has been tortured, and there's lots and lots of installs been put onto it and that they need to be cleaned up at some stage. Come on. Just going to drag that onto a different screen. No, that didn't quite work as anticipated. Let's go to no. Oh, we'll just have to wait. Come on, computer. Now, tell it to not turn on. Use a reverse psychology on it. Thanks, Chris. So let's have a quick chat about what's going to be happening on the channel over the next couple of weeks. ViViD will no doubt make an appearance here and there as we go, and as you've just seen, this as soon as I start talking about something else, it's no longer the center of attention. It boots up. We're going to do a Delta Flyer build because my kit should hopefully arrive sometime this coming week. Whether it will or won't, I don't know. It's been stuck with customs. The ViViD will no doubt make appearances here and there. I am not going to be doing beta testing on streams. It's not something that you guys want to witness. It's frustrating, it's annoying. Sometimes it's very rewarding, but it is not going to be very good content. I do have to rebuild my one of my V0s. The SD card died. It was the original one supplied with the Cyborg kit, and it needs replacing. I need to get that machine running again. Hardware fine, just the SD card died, and I'm not even sure I have a backup, which is a bit silly of me. So let's go back to here. And we're in. Now, hopefully you noticed that we have our very own custom skinned mainsail with my Down Under Maker logo. I'd like to thank Miko SE from my Discord for doing that for me. Let's have a quick look at what's going on here. So, things you'll be used to seeing under mainsail is the extruder. I'm going to move this whole thing here so I'm more closer to the camera. There we go. Yep, you can see that. The extruder heated bed. First thing, the next thing you'll see is the ViViD dryer. The ViViD filament dryer is built in, is a part of Clipper. The software for it isn't 100% done yet, but I've written some very simple macros to test it out. And basically you can set a duration via a custom timeout, and you can set a temperature. I've been told that these units have been tested up to 75 degrees. Whether that's going to be supported in the final version, I don't know. I suspect it will be sensible to probably pare that back and say 70 degrees in the filament dryer, which is still plenty for most filaments that are going to be used by most people. I suspect that's somewhere probably where it'll land, just for a little bit of a safety margin. We've got our buffer MCU, which is the STM chip that's built into the buffer itself. Moving on down, we then have a whole bunch of other stuff that's unrelated, and we get to our ViViD itself. We've got the left-hand thermistor and the right-hand thermistor, and the ViViD's MCU. Now, you'll also notice that we've got humidity sensors on board. You see there the 42 and 43%. They are AHT30 sensors from memory, and that's what's keeping that all nicely monitored. There's no current software for setting a target humidity that I've seen. That's probably coming, but it's not currently been provided to me as a tester. The other intention, as far as I understand, is currently it has these left and right settings here. These will probably actually be hidden away, and they'll be behind the scenes, and they actually are amalgamated using some code to give us this 26.8 degrees C here. Now, whether that comes to fruition, again, this is all beta stuff. Don't know. That comes down to what Bigtreetech decide before they release the final software. So let's have, as you can see, I've been doing lots of multicolor testing, just small, simple prints just to put it to its paces, basically. And I have, as you can see here, a custom build plate map for my Voron, just to spice it up and give it a bit of a theme alongside the channel. Thank you to Projects in Dad's Garage for his little tutorial on how to do that. I copied and pasted and it worked. So I threw in my logo onto my bed, and go check out his channel. He has a video tutorial on how to do that. Let's have a quick look at chat because I've accidentally covered it up. You guys talking smack, you guys talking smack, you guys talking smack. Want to try Physac SB Combo V2? We'll donate one if you want to mess with it on stream or something. I can have a look at it. Definitely happy to have a look at all sorts of random hardware. I really don't mind. I haven't really gone too far outside of this standard Mellow and Bigtreetech hardware. So yeah, we can certainly have a look at that on the channel. We can mess with it, take it apart, do nasty things to it with a soldering iron if necessary. And we can go from there. So, has anybody got any questions with what we've been doing? Let's turn off that one for now. I don't need to see my pause. Just waiting on chat, see if there's got any questions. It's getting pretty late here in Perth. It's almost 10:30. We've been going for just under an hour. Apart from the first 3 or 4 minutes where I was on mute, which is part of the course of my streams. It always happens. Every once in a while you can learn something from me. Not often, no. Oh, come on, Projects. You're a good dude. Yeah, definitely like and subscribe his channel, all that sort of stuff. Ring his bell. Everybody should ring his bell. Definitely ring his bell. So for those of you who were concerned about the bushfires in Australia, I'm on the whole other side of the country. So while we do have some very minor bushfires in Western Australia, it's nothing like what's going on in Victoria at the moment. We haven't had the issues that they've had. So heart goes out to them, but I don't need to worry at this point about that. That's why I thought you might want to see and compare. Thanks, Chris. Yeah, we'll talk about that after stream. I can send you my details if you want to send anything across. I'm happy to look at it. I was hoping you guys would have more questions. What I might do is just quickly have a look at my Discord and see if anybody's got any questions over there. Hopefully doing it without doxing anybody. There we go. Is ViViD going to allow software interoperability with the ViViD module, i.e. let something like AFC control it over USB? I don't know if Box Turtle software will talk directly to it, or if they're going to have to do any modifications. I have chatted briefly today with a couple of the guys from the Box Turtle team, and they are very eager to get their hands on one of these units. And it sounds like they were very eager to get it into the AFC ecosystem if they can. So hopefully that will mean that Bigtreetech and Happy Hair, because there's a Happy Hair module for this, but I've not been part of any testing for that. And if you're used to using the AFC, any one of those three hopefully would mean that you've got something that's compatible with your wants and or needs. There's Nick asking about PTFE. We already discussed that earlier. Just having a quick look, see if there's anything else. Is it going to be plug and play, or is there major changes to the machine? Not plug and play. There's people commenting in chat that they think that Happy Hair and AFC will both have something very, very quickly. I am aware that Happy Hair already has some modules for ViViD sitting there on their GitHub. Somebody told me about that the other day. I've been instructed not to play with Happy Hair for what I'm doing, so I'm currently not looking at it. My job is to make sure that it works with the bog standard Bigtreetech software. What are the color changing times like? They're a little bit slow at the moment for two reasons. Number one, I want reliable changes, and my job is to make sure the changes get reliable. And number two, I've been using a really long PTFE run. My hub is currently mounted behind the machine on a longer PTFE than normal. So the machine has currently, and I have to stress currently, a setup where it does a maximum length and then a sense going, wait a minute, what's going on? And then it will try to do another one of those lengths for pushing it all the way through to the tool head to make sure that it goes. We're not talking 2 minutes for a tool change, no. Brad's just asked, is it slow like 2 minutes? No, it's not. I'm getting about 55 seconds on the current way I'm doing it. Once I've got the backpack installed, I expect that to be 2/3 of that, because it will be a much shorter PTFE run. A lot of this is governed by the PTFE run. The drive itself grips the filament like nobody's business. Some people with Box Turtle, myself included, have had issues where the drive isn't necessarily always really, really gripping the filament to get nice high speeds. That's down to me needing to tweak those settings on Box Turtle. But the filament drive on these, if anything, it grips like a mofo and may be a little bit over tight on the filament. It does very heavily mar the filament with teeth marks as it goes in and out. So maybe that's where people are going to have to be careful. You're going to have to very carefully tune things to make sure that if you are using very high speeds, which I do think it's going to be very capable of, that you are not going to strip the filament, because the grip on the filament is really, really good. That's fair for a switcher system. Yeah, and I think this is going to be a really good commercial solution compared to people who don't want the hassle of building Box Turtle, but I think they're aiming at different markets. Box Turtle is for people like, generally on my streams, the people who want to put things together. ViViD is for people wanting a closer to turnkey solution, but I want to make it clear right now that I've been told by Bigtreetech reps, this is not intended to be a, you stuff it on your machine, you spend 2 minutes setting it up and it works. There is an expectation that buyers and users will be doing tuning and doing setup and have to know that know how their printer works to make it work well. So I suspect that there's going to be a lot of teething trouble in terms of new users not understanding that. They've just put their money on the counter and gone, gimme. My job is to make it as close to that as they can as a beta tester, but you're still going to have to go into Clipper. You're still going to have to set things like what's the location of where the filament cutter depressor is going to be, and things like that. Where is your brush mounted and things like that? Does it squish the filament out of spec at all? It doesn't seem to, but it does seem to leave teeth marks on it. Let me see if I can find a piece that's been through it. No, that's not been through it. No, I just tidied up. And I think I've thrown all of that stuff into the outside bin.
Where's that grey filament we took out of it a few minutes ago? I know what I can do. I can make a rod for my own back. What I'm doing, guys, is I'm just gonna remove one of the PTFEs here. From a piece of filament that's loaded. I'm going to cut it off for you guys and I'll show you. And I'll go through the pain of reloading it all, which isn't that bad. Let's go to that one. And I'll go through the pain of reloading it all. I'm not sure you're going to be able to see it. Let's see. Let's go to that one. You can't, it's not showing up on camera, but if I was to run my thumb down it, I can feel the ridges in the filament where the teeth have driven past. There's specifically. It's not showing up on camera, but if I was to run my, you can just make out the lines. Let's try another camera, see if this camera can show it better. No, it's just not showing up with this lighting. Sorry, guys. You can see definite teeth marks in the filament. No better or worse than you'd see after it's gone through any one of the extruders that we normally use, though. Sometimes if it gets stalled out, then there will be a problem. I'm going to take one for the team. I'm going to cut that filament out. I'll show you. This orange filament is going to show way better because, there you go, it stalled and it chewed a big gap in the filament right here. Now it does seem to drag that gap through the drive okay, but whether that would affect a print or not, I've yet to discover. I'm finer than a frog hair split 3 ways. How about you? Yeah. Anybody who's new to my streams, please forgive my regulars. There are a bunch of loose cannons a lot of the time. This is an AMS for tinkerers. That's probably a pretty fair way of calling it at this point. Hi, Jeremy. Just having a look, seeing what's going on in my chat again. Does it support ramming or you have to use a switch? The software is aimed at using a switch. Will it support ramming? In principle, yes, because in principle, there's no reason why it couldn't. It's just Clipper, just like AFC and all the rest of them. But it's optimized at this point for the software to have a switch. I'm currently using a slightly modified version of ThunderKey's Filler Matrix. I was having a little bit of trouble getting a reliable switching to occur. So Esoterical made a very minor mod to it for me. Chris has just said, "Ooh, what's going on, Chris? What kind of brainwave did I give you?" Waiting for Chris to answer. No, maybe. Maybe he just tripped over something and kicked himself. Crustacean Daddy, how are you? Hi, Martin. So for those of you who have come in late, I really encourage you to go back and watch the video from the start once we finish here, which is only going to be a minute or two away. Have a look at what I pre-recorded when I did the unboxing. I did the unboxing about a month ago, prior to knowing really anything about the hardware. It basically turned up at my door. I opened the box just enough to know that there was nothing going to dox me inside and no private information inside, and closed it up, and then I did an unboxing video. It's not amazing. You'll notice that I've had a haircut since then and a few other continuity things that professional streamers wouldn't have. But it does cover pretty much everything that you as a new person opening the box would want to know about, I hope. Yes, please, as Jeremy just said, please hit the like button, everybody.
I can't easily see with what I've got set up at the moment whether everybody's liked and subscribed and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, please like, subscribe, bring a friend. Now, just a little bit of housekeeping. For the next few weeks, we'll probably be streaming on Thursdays in my normal time slot. What's going to happen once my daughter goes back to school and I'm back teaching again? Not 100% decided. We may go to a more looser, probably the same kind of day, but which day of the week is going to be more fluid kind of situation. I'm hoping to maybe try and stream twice a week on some weeks if we've got enough content. And hopefully some of the time we'll be able to follow what's going on with the ViViD development. Sometimes we'll be doing printer builds and printer mods. Like I said, I've got a V0 that desperately needs the SD card rebuilding, and we're going to have some fun and games and hopefully a lot of laughs along the way, as we seem to have been doing in chat today. So with that, this has been Phil, the Down Under Maker. It's very late at night here in Perth. It's it's 10:30 p.m. Gergman has subscribed and Discorded. Thank you, Gergman. Please like, please subscribe, please join my Discord. Please, if you go into the memes channel on my Discord, take it for what it is. If something is a little bit out there and it's been a spoiler put on it, it's usually for a very good reason. Stay out if you're a little bit faint-hearted. Oh, got a question here. The humidity sensor working with Clipper is pretty cool. Oh, yes. How it's going to be controlled, like I said earlier, Brad, I don't know. So fingers crossed they have some sort of ability for the software to detect what the humidity is and then run on a different basis based on the humidity. Don't know what they're doing on that regard. I haven't been privy to all of that, but I have asked. So back to what I was doing. I have been Phil. I have been the Down Under Maker. It is time for me to hop on out of here. Like, subscribe, all the usual YouTuber stuff, and I will hopefully see you on Wednesday night US, Thursday my time for a stream. Fingers crossed, building the start of the Delta Flyer, and if not, we'll be working on the V0. Thanks for joining me, guys. Catch you later. Bye.